It's every parent's worst nightmare. You raise your kids one way and they pick another path that involves destruction and pain. I have two brothers today who are going to tell me their story. Justin and Curtis Hartshorn, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
So you guys were raised in a Christian home and you were following that path for a while, and then you both fell off of it for different reasons. Let's start with you, Justin. What happened to you?
Very involved in my church, grew up with parents who served regularly, learned from them, ended up getting involved in youth and that kind of thing. And I was in grade, I think 11 at the time, and went on a mission trip and just felt that God gave me a specific vision for our church youth group that he really wanted to, in my mind, he really wanted to be implemented into the church. And so I came back with kind of a fervor for this vision, and I was like, it needs to happen. And when I brought it to the leadership at that time, we were kind of at the church having a leadership transitionary period. I brought it to the new leader, and it was kind of shut down and said, that's not the direction we're going. We're going to be going in a different direction. And I feel like at that time, in my immaturity and potential pride at that, being so sure that this was a vision from God, being told no, it was kind of devastating and hurtful to me. And so the youth group ended up not thriving as much as I thought that it should have. And so I kind of left in a bitterness towards the leadership for going against what I felt was the vision of God for the church. And whether it was or wasn't at this point, it's kind of irrelevant to say, but my attitude towards how I handled it was definitely inappropriate, and I walked away with a very bitter attitude. So. And
then that led you into a path of addiction. How did that get started?
I think once I left with bitterness in my heart and was kind of like, I'm done with churches that don't want to listen to me. I know it sounds ridiculous, but that's kind of the attitude that I had as a young teen. It was very easy for me to just look for other ways to live and just start experimenting in life. And my parents, we talk openly about it now, but they'd say that within 3 months I was a completely different person. It transitioned so fast from me being, a church-going Christian person who was very involved and truly did love Jesus at that stage in my life, to finding alternatives in bad friends and drug addiction and alcohol and everything that pretty much comes with that. So just opening up to a new world was all it took for me to get involved. So.
Wow. Okay, we're going to come back to your story. Curtis, sure. You took a similar but different path. So what started you on a path away from your upbringing?
Yeah, mine was kind of a similar story. I was, it actually happened, I can kind of mark the moment when I was in grade 7. And I had just been kind of really bullied by this kid in school, and we went to a Christian school. So my world was kind of Christian school and youth group. And then when I kind of felt like I wasn't really clicking in the youth group, I was having some problems there, probably some of my own as well. But then, and then in school, I felt like I got a little bit bullied by these kids, and I kind of translated that to, well, God, if these people are Christians and they represent you, then maybe this is how you see me. And if this is what it means to be a Christian, and if I have to suffer and be bullied like this, then I just don't want to do this. I just kind of want to fit in. So I just was really, really angry. And I kind of held on to that anger. And then when we moved towns and actually went to a new high school, and I didn't know anybody in the high school, and I kind of saw that as like, this is my clean break to kind of just start making my own decisions and not doing what Jesus wants for me anymore.
And for you, that journey was not addiction, but it was death metal. So tell me about that, kind of the darkness that you were drawn into.
Yeah, I was always into music, but I became really interested in death metal music and horror movies and pretty much any sort of dark art I could find. There was also we were doing drugs and stuff like that as well, but I just became really fascinated in dark art and just kind of, that just became my world for a while. So.
Became really frightening, didn't it?
Yeah. So what started out as a joke, we played in bands, but I was a screamer for a death metal band. And I basically started doing research and researching different things to do with witchcraft or occultic things, and I would be writing them into my lyrics, and then, which I thought was kind of fun and games. But then I started having all of these real experiences where I would be like at a party drinking, and I would have like a visitation from a spirit when I walked outside, and I'd be talking to them and then they would vanish in front of my face. Or I would just be in my bedroom alone at night and wake up to somebody standing in my room. And it just became very real, and it started getting really, really scary, obviously. So.
Okay, I want to continue with both your stories. We're going to talk about how you guys came back to faith and maybe give some hope to parents out there in just a minute.